Hello everyone, welcome to another realistic colored pencil drawing tutorial. And what I'm gonna draw for this tutorial is this reference photo of Ant-Man. And looking at it, you can see that it's a bit intimidating, especially with colored pencils. And by just looking at the details, very highly detailed, I can see that with regular technique, it will take me forever to finish this portrait. But what I'm going to show you on this tutorial is a different technique that hopefully will make this picture a bit quicker and easier to draw. If you are interested with this technique using colored pencils, I hope you watch this entire video. Okay, the first thing that will help us with this drawing is the paper. So I'm gonna need the Strathmore Gray Scale paper, 15 sheets, and this has different shades of gray. And for some reason, there is a nice black, or can I say very dark gray right here, almost black. And this is what I want to use. As you can see, this is a very textured paper, heavily textured, and maybe I can use it for this particular drawing, because the reference photo is very dark. So using black paper, let us find out what it can do to recreate this kind of reference photo. So this is the Strathmore Gray Scale paper, but this is the black or the very dark gray paper right here. And another problem is, how can we make it more realistic? Of course, we need a perfect outline. So you can use grid method, but here I'm gonna trace to make my outline more perfect, because everything starts with a perfect outline. So what I did was, I print this reference photo on thinner paper right here, and I'm not gonna use charcoal or graphite to be able to trace my outline here, because they might not be seen here on a black paper. So what I will use is this one. This is the Prismacolor Scholar white colored pencil, and I decided to use a cheaper white pencil. So you can use any other white pencil, not the artist quality, because they are expensive. So you can just use any student grade white pencil right here on the back of the reference photo. What you do is you just apply with a bit of heavy pressure, and you cover the entire back of the reference photo right here. Okay, you're just gonna press hard on the entire paper, and then what you do is you just like the regular tracing technique, what you do is you just trace the outline. Oh, let's try it. So you just get a hard graphite pencil and you just trace for perfect outline. So this is okay, because we are doing realistic drawing, and it's going to be impossible to do it with using freehand method. You will not be able to get the realism that you want if you do freehand. You can use grid method as well, but for quicker and more perfect outline, I use this technique. So there you go. There is your outline, the white colored pencil that we put at the back of our reference photo that we printed on a thin copy paper. So that is just for the outline. Now for the actual drawing, this is the process. The paper is almost like black, although it is, I think this is dark gray, very dark gray. The most useful pencil here is the white, so I'm gonna start with the white colored pencil. This is the white Faber Castell Polychromos. I think you can use Prismacolor with this technique also, and other brands of quality colored pencils. And because even though we are using black, it is important also to use quality colored pencils. And the paper, as you can see here on the close-up, you can see the texture of the paper, but it shouldn't make it very difficult to layer because of the tooth or the texture of the paper. And I'm expecting that it's going to be easier to blend compared to white paper. And as you can see here, I already it looks like I already did the actual figure already, and it already shows the shape of the Ant-Man and everything by just using white. So this is just white, and you can see that it's beginning to seem to pop out of the paper already. That is what great about using black paper. And here I'm for those very dark values, I just leave the blackness or the darkness of the paper. And here I'm using here the warm gray, so it is a mixture of for the shape of the figure, it's a mixture of the white and the warm gray. I use warm gray because there are very subtle highlights that it's not going to be realistic when I use white. So warm gray provides a very nice subtle highlights that is not too bright. So this is the warm gray. So actually it depends on the saturation, or it depends on the highlights. It depends on the depth of the highlights, the pressure that I use with this. So I use mostly light to medium pressure here. I only push hard on the pencil whenever there is a solid intense highlights, like here on the part of on the nose part, right here on the part where the nose is there. And then I use my third color here. This is the dark phthalo green, and this is just to tone the dark shadows and even some parts of the subtle highlights, because I can see from my reference that there's a very nice subtle shade of green right here. So to make it look more metallic, as you can see, even if I put green on top of the white or the warm gray, you can still see the highlights right there. So that's what's good about colored pencils. So it's almost like permanent on the paper, unlike pastels where it can easily be smudged when you put your layers on top of another layer. So here, even if I'm putting this layer of green on top of the white and the gray, you can see that the highlights are still very much visible. But I'm gonna define those highlights later on. It's like toning the metallic parts, or although this is entirely metallic, just to make it look as closely to my reference photo. So this is what I do. I put pressure with this green, not so much, very light with this green. I just put heavy pressure on the white a while ago whenever there is a solid highlight. So here, this, as you can see, can you see how I hold my pencil? I hold it just far from the lead, and my stroke is like horizontal, like this one. So this is another shade. This is the bluish shade. This is the light ultramarine on top of the green, to make sure that I was able to get the correct tone of the metal right here. And I'm also layering on top of the highlights, but I'm not erasing the highlights with this layer of colored pencils, because colored pencils is really great with this kind of technique. It doesn't smudge easily. So now I'm gonna draw the red part right here where the eyes are, and here on the antenna, or whatever you call it. So I'm using two shades of red here. We have the dark carmine here, the lighter one, and a while ago I used wine red, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and I'm pressing hard on some parts of the red part, because there's just a solid red color on that part, and then there are some splatter of red inks on, I don't know why, and here. And then I'm using white again to reestablish the highlights, or if there are some highlights that I was able to fade because of the layers, you can always or if you cannot achieve the lightest highlights, you can just use this, the Uniposca white pen. It will provide you with very, very bright white highlights here for deeper contrast, and right here. So you can just do that, and for subtle highlights, you can just go back with your white. Okay, so that's it. This is very, very quick, surprisingly quick, because of the black paper using colored pencils. Thank you so much for watching.